number of things on our agenda, along with quite a lengthy agenda and update, so I'm going to try and keep things brief here. We'll be moving along. We do have a 6:15, a 6:30, and a 7 o'clock scheduled special times, so we'll take breaks there for those things. My activity over the last couple of weeks has been pretty slow. We had a budget and finance meeting that I wasn't able to go to last week because the day job had to take priority for that. But otherwise, I understand we're in the final stages of getting the budget prepped and ready, and hopefully Paul can tell us more about that when we get there. So, Neil, it's expired.
They have nothing to report.
All right, Megan.
Same.
All right, Jean.
I had a liquor board meeting last week.
And how'd that go? Good. Paul.
Just budget finance meeting.
And were we ready with the recommendation coming from that?
Somewhat.
Okay. Right. Okay, moving on then to our department head report, starting with Chief Whiteman.
Thank you. Don't have a ton to report for you guys. Both of our part-timers that we hired are, or will be up and running by this weekend. They both actually have shifts this weekend. Department of Firearms qualifications here this last week. And we're about midway through our FTO program with Officer Eck. So hopefully in about another month and a half, he should be out and on his own. I'd just like to remind people that with school in session, that they pay attention when they're driving kind of around those school areas, especially during the school hours. During the day, just watch for the kids as they're traveling to and from school. And remind everybody that if there is somebody in the crosswalk, they do have the right of way, especially down on Highway 55 as they're crossing at Burr Street.
We've got some chairs up here already for you if you want. Right next to Leo. I have it on good authority. He only bites a little. We'll sit over here. Any questions for the chief? Chief, it's in the consent agenda, but I think the training cover sheet says it's one price and the registration says it's different.
That's actually a duplicate page, so that attachment doesn't pertain to that training.
Okay, then never
I
mind.
did send that out.
That's the one that you sent. Okay. That solves, answers my question then. Forget it. Okay. All right, Ron.
Thank you. First of all, the water treatment plant, the filter is back online. We have 3 of the 4 cells. The other one, we are still working on some back T analysis for that. Hydrant flushing is going to be October 14th, 12th and 13th, correction. Leaf pickup is October the 29th. The parks will all shut down on October the 9th. Fishing pier, we will move that out right around that November 1st, weather permitting. If you do see a crew out on Wednesday, and we will be in town here conducting our annual water leak survey, testing all the hydrants and trying to identify any leaks that might not be coming up. Our city shop rehab is very close to being completed. Hopefully within a week or so we will start to move in there. We just did have a public works meeting before this. One of the items we did discuss a little bit is our chloride issue, and for anybody that doesn't know chlorides, they are very low naturally. They do get into our waste stream via all our water softeners. It is still an issue out there. It is not nearly as severe as what we have seen last year, but it is something we will continue to work on. Thank you.
Any questions for Ron? Tark.
All right, just a couple of things here. Megan and I presented the work plan that Bolton and Mink prepared regarding the water treatment study or water contamination study for the commission or legislative commission, or got it wrong here again, Legislative Citizens Commission on Minnesota Resources, which is LCCMR. They did approve it, so we will be conducting that study on 4 different cities in Minnesota. There was also a budget and finance meeting, which I think we have a preliminary budget that we're ready to present to council. And last week, attended a meeting with the Corona Lake Association on the aquatic invasive species. We discussed a grant program for installing cleaning or water cleaning stations at Coronas and Rice Lakes. So we'll see how that goes.
Thank you. Any questions for Tark? All right. Moving on then, we have an opportunity for our public forum, 10 minutes if anyone wants to speak. We'll divide it up between the number of people who are here. We just ask that you go to the podium, tell us who you are, and then we'll listen, and we won't take any action on anything if anyone has a complaint or anything like that, but we can direct it to staff if there's something we need to address. So.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Barry Belknap. I'm running for County Commissioner. I was here a few weeks ago to talk to you guys, some different people in the audience. I'm glad to be back after clearing the primary. A little bit about myself. I work at Harvest Bank in Kimball. I've been an ag and commercial lender there for just about 10 years. My wife and 4 kids and I live north of Kimball by the village of Marty. They go to Rocori Public High School. We live right around the corner from my in-laws' dairy farm. And I'm an old farm kid from the Fairmont, Minnesota area. I grew up on a hog and grain farm that's still doing well. In the run for County Commissioner, I just want to talk a little bit about my experience. I think the community bank piece is a great starting off point for the County Commission. I'm working with businesses and farmers and otherwise private citizens all day, every day, talking about challenges and what they're trying to accomplish and what they're running up against. And I think that gives me a good pulse on what's going on in the district. I also serve on the board of directors there. I've been on that for a few years. County Commission deals with a little bit more complexity than what we have at our relatively small bank, but it's still a similar sort of issue. You got to sort through complex issues and try to find good decisions and work with people. From a fiscal responsibility standpoint, I mean, you guys are talking budget. I gather tonight a little bit. The power to set taxes and collect that is a pretty awesome power, and I take that very seriously. Working with my business customers and farm customers and private citizens, I can see when we're talking numbers what kind of bite taxes take. And it's not to say that I'm opposed to all taxation, but I think we just have to be super responsible as public servants to make sure that we're delivering value for money. And finally, I think a customer service position, sorry, I'm getting off my points here. I believe in strong communities is the final point. I was the president of the Holy Cross Catholic School Board for about 8 years. And also the new public library in Kimball. I was on the committee that stood that up and wound up chairing it towards the end of that project, which was a wonderful development for the community. So I'm willing to dig in on this stuff. So that's kind of my experience piece. The ethic that I want to approach this with is customer service. That's how we build our business at the bank. It's how I build my loan book. We take care of people. We're responsible, we're respectful. We deal with the issues they need. That's, I think, a big part of what it takes to be successful. I would bring that ethic with me and encourage that of staff. But then more than that, the service piece, it's an opportunity for service. I don't approach this as an opportunity to show everybody how powerful I am if I get in or puff my chest out. It's literally just being a part of something and trying to bring it along and make it better. That's why I did the school board, it's why I did the library, it's why I do this position. And then the final piece, I was a United States diplomat for about 5 years. I had a chance to live on both coasts of the United States. I lived in the country of Guyana in South America. I lived in Frankfurt, Germany. And in that line of work, one of the biggest things you do is try to build bridges and try to find shared priorities. And I've done that across cultures. I've done it across languages. I've done it in different countries. And probably worst of all, across U.S. government agencies. That might be the hardest one. But that's an ethic I would bring. I think it's super important with local government or government at any level to try to bring people together and try to find those shared priorities and find things that work for everybody. So that's the ethic that I would bring to that office. In light of your super busy schedule, I appreciate your time. I think Stearns County is a great place to live. We're going to be here for the foreseeable future. I'd love to lend my effort to trying to keep the things that are good and try to build on that. And I appreciate your vote in November, and anybody so inclined, your support between now and then. I appreciate your time. Left some business cards back here if anybody wants how to get a hold of me.
Thank you, Barry.
Thanks, Barry.
Thank you.
Anybody else here for the public forum? Moving on then, we have our consent agenda. The minutes listed on page 1 of our agenda. The vouchers, it's kind of a big week, totaling $454,899.30. I'm still waiting on my work comp claim from the carpal tunnel in my wrist from signing the mountain of checks. We have some trainings on here, L1, and the rest are trainings. But we're looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Sir?
I have a question. Page 14, the DMT training, it says February 15 and 16, but when I read the report, it looks like January 11 and 12. Is that dates correct, or am I reading something wrong?
Says 11th and 12th.
Well, on page 15, I'm looking at, classroom component, January 11 and 12. On page 14, it says February 15.
No, right before.
There's two separate trainings.
Yep, there are two, one for Logan, one for Noah.
So one of them's going in January, one of them's
I
going
see
in February.
that, no, good. Well, then it's good. With that, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Hertzberg, seconded by Brick to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None? That carries. All right. And we have the Fire Department Relief Association audit. Can we present on that in a few minutes? Or is that?
Oh, yeah, I can get it right here in a minute and a half. Depends on my questions I have.
You got two.
We're gonna go right to page 27. That number on the bottom is the important one, that's our surplus of $176,923. That is no longer current. That's more like $92,000, but we're still 115% overfunded. Then we'll move on to page 28, that's the important one, where it tells you whether or not the city owes us money or needs to help us out or not. We do not, we're not any money, we're well-funded.
Is that the case even with the reduced amount from that?
Yes, we're still 115%.
I'm sure I'm understanding you right.
Let's go to page 35, that's our fundraiser funds. Last year we made $44,000 fundraiser funds. And in the last page, page 49, that I want to highlight is our 2021 state aid contribution was 100% awarded to us. We were on time, so that was in the ballpark of $47,000.
Any questions for Brad?
Just ask that you keep in mind that we are still overfunded and we're expecting the market to come back here in the next 2 months. We'd like to be back asking for a raise.
So the surplus that you said has been reduced now down to under 100,000, is that simply because of the market conditions?
June was tough.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions for Grant or Brad? Yeah, Grant, I'm throwing you into this now. So then we're looking for a motion to approve the 2021 Relief Association audit.
I'll make a motion to approve the audit.
I heard Gene first, but Neil finished it, so Neil gets it.
Second.
Second by Soini. All right, so I have a motion by Hertzberg, second by Soini, or vice versa, to approve the 2021 Fire Department Relief Association audit. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, 6:14, so just so we know, we'll deal with the funding requests here next. Depending on how long that takes, we have our public hearing on the zoning ordinance at 6:30. But then we do have some folks here from the library, which is actually the last thing on our agenda. But assuming they don't want to stick around that whole time, I'm going to bump it up either between the funding request and the public hearing or right after the public hearing, depending on timing. So, you're welcome to stick around, Leah, for as long as you want, but I'm just going to make the assumption you don't particularly want to. So we have our funding requests that we look at every year for various local nonprofits and other agencies. I don't know if anybody has volunteered to go first and talk to us about what's happening. Otherwise, Matt, you're closest to the microphone.
All right, good evening, thank you. I believe in your packets, I saw online you have the report that I sent.
We do, yes.
So good news on summer rec and enrichment. Our numbers, we're back to pre-COVID levels. We had 2 years pretty tough with COVID and all the restrictions, so participation was strong. As you can see there, both in enrichment and recreation with over 856 participants. A side note, the city's a co-sponsor of the Summer Concert in the Park series. We had over 1,000 participants or people down at that. That is not involved in this funding request. But side note, the township continues their support too, and we are requesting the same as we have for probably the last 10 years or more, 6251. Any questions for me? Yep, Neil?
Did the township, what was their contribution?
The same, 6251.
Thank you.
Yep. Those, we appreciate your continued support, so.
I don't have anything on the funding piece. I will just say if we can look at maybe expanding the concert in the parks next year to 6 or 8. I don't know how that works, but there's my plug for it.
I mean, it can always be looked at. We did, when I started that probably 12, 13 years ago, I did 6 weeks in a row. That was back when there weren't any other options around. Now there's a lot of communities that are doing it. It's all based on donations that I get for sponsors. So right now my budget, we actually subsidize. We don't get enough even to cover the 4 concerts. So it wouldn't be us adding them, but if other groups wanted to add concerts, they certainly could. So I know they're fun and it's good to have, but it is a cost, so.
Anything else on community ed funding? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we have the Green Roof Area Center.
I have never done this before, so you guys are all probably used to seeing Inez, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things I want to touch on. She retired, and I recently took over as director of the area center. I think this is really exciting. We have big chances to add things to what we've always been doing and really offer a space for seniors to continue having recreation opportunities, learning opportunities, and really just a place to fit in the community. We genuinely appreciate every amount of support that we get, and we try very hard to put it to good use. The other thing I wanted to point out is in the past, you have supported us financially, and when I was reviewing things from previous years, it looked like you used to do snow removal for us, and there was some kind of contract there. And we were hoping that if you're not willing to support us in the same amount that you have in previous years, maybe we could look at a snow removal kind of deal and work some things out there. It sounds like you recently bought a snow plow for the city, so. Otherwise, we appreciate everything.
Yeah, we appreciate certainly the things that are done over there. I think one of the biggest questions that's bound to come up as we look at continued funding, I don't know the details of it, only sort of what I've heard thirdhand is that there was a pretty generous bequest to the area center.
A request or a donation?
A donation, a bequest.
There was a huge donation given to us by somebody in our community who specifically asked that the money he give us be used for something that makes the lives of the staff easier to continue to provide services. So we kind of had to be really creative with that money. He wouldn't allow us to put it back into programming, and that was one of the stipulations of the donation. Yeah, so it looks maybe a little questionable when people outside look, but it was specified that we couldn't put it back into programming or the building itself. Like, it had to be something special.
Thank you. Questions for Ed?
Right there, looking at the budget, it's my page 56.
Yep.
Last year, we gave you, I believe, 8,000.
Yep.
And when I look at I believe line number 3, government contributions, you have 60 to 50. So my modern math isn't working too good.
Yeah, mine's not either. Unless,
Maybe something you want to check
I will look
out.
into that, and wonder if it's not somewhere else.
I believe the township gives you a donation also, correct?
Mhm. Let me look into that and I'll get back to you.
Sounds good.
Any other questions for Rebecca? Thank you. Moving on then. Historical Society. Keep in mind, we know the treasurer.
Hello, my name is Vicki Jenigas, and I'm here representing the Historical Society. First of all, I want to thank you so much for all the support you've given us over the years, going way back into the 70s. And you've always been our biggest supporter, and you truly do make a difference. I wanted to say, first of all, that the museum is open from Memorial Day to Labor Day, Tuesdays through Saturday. We count on memberships, donations from individuals, townships, and community organizations, as well as grants, and occasionally an appeals letter, and in-kind donations of time and work. The city support is a large part of helping us just to pay our bills. This coming year during the off-season, we're happy to offer 2 Saturdays a month to be open for visitors, and Thursday mornings for volunteers who come in and clip newspaper articles and obituaries, and they help with the filing and anything else that volunteers want to do will be on Thursday mornings. We've seen quite an increase in attendance and membership. Stephanie just told us in August we had 240 people walk through the door. So some of the advertising and the social networking that she's been doing have helped a lot with bringing people in. Special museum events held this year included Military Appreciation Day, Grandparent Day, a community picnic, as well as participation in the Town and Country Day Parade and the community theater event. And as I said, we're always looking for ways to expand our audiences. And Stephanie's been using Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and posting a lot of pictures of items that we have in the museum, and generating a lot of interest. This season, when we've had we always have class reunions going on, but in the summertime, what she'll do is she'll open a yearbook. This weekend, the class of 1972 is coming in the morning on Saturday, and she'll open up the yearbook and post a couple pictures, and that generates a lot of interest. So we're excited for them to come. Again, I want to thank you for the support that we have received from you. If you haven't been out to the museum, please put it on your list of things to do. We're closed for the season, as I said, but we're going to be open every 2nd and 4th Saturday from now till next summer. So watch the press and Facebook for dates and times, and it'll be 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. So I've told you some of the things that we've done for fun, and then I've got Reed here to probably tell you a few other things that we've done.
I'm Reed Ringstead. I'm on building and maintenance and a little bit of everything over there. We've had a busy year this year. We had a fundraiser, and with that money that we got, we re-roofed the main building, and we're in the process of insulating both buildings. We've already noticed a couple $100 decrease with just the one building and our electric and bill and everything, so for air conditioning. So it's something that we needed, and that it'll also go over the years. You know, it's something that will save money in the future. I'd like to thank you all, thank the council and the Painesville for the money that you have given us. It is well appreciated. We use it for our general funds, so our operating funds to keep going. Without that, we would have trouble keeping going. We're in the process of putting a new sign out front, a digital sign, and with that, we hope to help the community also by if there's we'll say the firemen are coming on this week, their dinner is coming up, we can help advertise for that and things like that. So we're here to help the community as well. I guess if any of you would like or haven't been to the museum and would like to come, if you want to get a hold of me or Vicki, we would be glad to give you a tour, even if it's closed. So I don't know if all of you have seen it or not, but it is one of the nicest ones in the whole area. And tomorrow we're having the Stearns County Historical Board over at the museum tomorrow for a meeting. So they're interested in everything that we've done over there too. So I'd just like to thank you for everything.
Thank you. Any questions for Reed or Vicki? All right, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
All right, the Lake Association.
Good evening, I'm Esri Farnham, the incoming Coronis Lake Association president, and I'll be speaking about the AIS and the fireworks budget request. The Coronis Lake Association has been the main sponsor of the annual July 4th fireworks show on Lake Coronis for more than 10 years, and the City of Painesville and the Painesville Township are also sponsors. Kaylee would like to thank the city for their contributions over the years, and the show would not have been possible without your support. For the past 4 years, Kaylee has spent $12,000 for the fireworks show off the First Island, and in 2018, we spent $10,000. We have found that the extra cost has made the show more enjoyable and brought in more people to support our community and local businesses. Kaylee can continue to have this type of show with the sponsorships from the city and township. This year, the city contributed $1,500, and the township contributed between $2,000 and $2,500. The remaining balance is and has been picked up by the KLA membership because we continue to have fantastic support from our members annually. The Coronis Lake Association would like to officially request $1,500 from the City of Painesville for the 2023 fireworks show. We have signed a contract for 3 years with Hollywood Pyrotechnics out of Eagan, and the next show is set for July 1st, 2023 on a Saturday. We would like to keep the budget at $12,000 for next year. We feel that we are securing a better show with this vendor. We would be most appreciative for your support. I can also talk to the Aquatic Invasive Species Program, but that's previously been in a different part of the city's budget. Would you like me to?
Yes, please.
Right. The Aquatic Invasive Species Program for Lake Coronis consists of 2 programs. The treatment of star stonework to manage this invasive and to a level that the lake is usable for the public is one program, and this work is funded by the shoreowners and grants from county AIS funds. The second program is the inspection program that takes place at the 3 main access locations for transient boaters to enter Lake Coronis. The key purpose of this program is to prevent or slow the introduction of the next AIS from coming into the lake and star stonework from transferring out of the lake and going to another. This program is managed by the North Fork of the Crow River for Coronis, but the Coronis Lake Association through grants from its partners, stakeholders, and its membership furnish funds to support the program. Funds received from some of this grant support the whole AIS program since it is treated as a watershed problem. The funding of this inspection program comes from several sources. The target amount for 2022 for just Lake Coronis was $51,400. Funding for the watershed lakes within Stearns County was $77,800. Funds were requested as followed. Stearns County AIS, $35,000, KLA, $11,000, RLA, $8,000, Meeker County, $12,500, Painesville Township, $6,000, City of Painesville, $3,800, Union Grove, TWP, $1,500, with a total of $77,800. Just to give you an idea of how important the inspection program is for Veterans Park, in 2021, the 3 main accesses had 70,056 inspections, 3,909 inspections at Highway 55, 2,426 at Veterans, and 721 at the regional park. These numbers are influenced by the number of inspection hours that can be afforded at the access. As you can see, support for this program on Lake Coronis is needed. It's a busy lake. As a community asset, it needs your continued support, and we thank you so much for your continued support. Kevin Farnham manages the AIS program for the Coronis Lake Association and works with the North Fork of the Crow River Watershed District, Stearns and Meeker counties, and the DNR. He can meet with you as he has done in the past if you would like to answer any more questions.
And one of the questions that has come up, sort of in passing and directly, is what good the inspection program is actually doing. And I know you talked about some of the numbers, but there seems to be a perception, at least by some, that, you know, and again, it's all anecdotal, but whenever people drive past, it looks like the inspectors are sleeping, or perhaps this year's contractor just wasn't as great as in years past. I don't know. But could you speak to a little bit about how effective that was this last summer versus years prior?
I can't say any certain numbers. Kevin Farnham would be the expert and have those numbers concretely. I can say that from the studies that have been pulled from DNR and other sources is that we've managed to catch quite a few AIS before they've gotten to Lake Coronis. I can look into that further and get back to you if you'd like a more specific number.
I'm good. It wasn't something that I had a direct concern about. But anybody else have any questions for Esther? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. So moving on then, it is 6:30, so we'll go into our zoning public hearing. We don't have any action to take right now on the funding requests anyhow. Thank you to everyone who came. I realize that all but 2 have left, but thank you for coming. So going into and opening our zoning public hearing. Anybody here to talk to us about our lovely zoning ordinance? Okay. Jennifer, is it good to go?
I am good to go with it. I did left the highlighted sections in there for you to review of the 95 pages. The highlighted sections in yellow were the additions or the corrections that were made at the last meeting we had. Again, the zoning ordinance is only as good as the days that it is when you adopt it. It can be amended. We've been working on this just shy of 16 years, 3 different city administrators. So I'd like to say we're at a point where I think we need to move forward, and it may not be perfect, but I think we've addressed some of the issues that are becoming more, I guess, complicated or problematic, or and I hope that once we, I guess I want to say one thing, I hope that once we adopt this ordinance, and at which time we do, is that we follow it. Meaning, if they only need a variance for the obscure cases, and we implement a conditional use and we put conditions on it, and if it seems right to do a lot split, we do it. But it makes no sense to have a zoning ordinance if we're not going to actually follow it.
I have a question that I'm going to point at you, Eric, and you might not know the answer because it just popped into my head.
Okay.
I know we have at least one variance application currently pending. If we pass this, is that variance going to be looked at under the new ordinance or the ordinance existing at the time of the application?
Well, I would think it would be the ordinance that's in place at the time of the application. Well, is that, I mean, you have a variance that's pending right now?
Yes.
Is it, but it's not something you're dealing with today?
No, so Central Care has asked for a lot split, and upon the lot split, it will make the new lot non-conforming.
Right.
So I would concur with Eric not ever having this happen, but those rules apply upon application. Those same rules have to apply through the process of those 60 days.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Which in their case doesn't really change. The variance rules are still they're still the same. Whether it's the 1992 ordinance, the 2021 ordinance, or the 2022 ordinance. They're going to be the same.
And then because this is a significant change, I'm assuming this is going to, if we approve this, will take some time to get processed with Municode and posted on the city's website.
Yeah, so if it is approved tonight and the official summary is approved, the first step is we're going to publish the summary. Then the 95 pages actually gets emailed to Unicode. They will actually upload it onto our system, bookmark it, people can search it, and it will become effective upon approval and passage and publication. So like this one, if you're approving it tonight, just for dates and times and such, it would not go into effect until September 22nd.
And that's
And
because we're
then-
already past this week's press deadline, so we're
We
looking
have,
next.
yeah.
Yep.
But yes, you are exactly right. It's going to take some time to get it out to the planning board, get it out to the council members, update those books, because we only publish inserts for the actual bound books twice a year, in March and October. So this will be part of the October supplement. And our Unicode bill for 95 pages will be significant.
And we'll talk after the meeting about publishing bound books. Okay, any questions or any other comments on the zoning ordinance from anyone? All right, then I will close our public hearing. Let's jump right ahead to old business, item D, ordinance number 36, third series, the zoning ordinance. So, we have the zoning ordinance before us. We've reviewed this a number of times. Does anybody want to make a motion to adopt the ordinance and the summary thereof?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 36, third series, and the official summary of amended chapter 36 of the city code of the city of Painesville.
All right, I have a motion by Hertzberg. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Sweeney. As stated on the action sheet, to approve ordinance number 36, third series, and official summary of amended chapter 36 of the city code of Painesville, AKA the zoning ordinance. Any further discussion? On the question, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None. That carries.
Thank you.
And I was at Office Depot yesterday, and I totally forgot to buy you a binder. I am so sorry.
I'm good with that.
It'll be a surprise.
I'll pick a special color.
It's gonna be gold plated.
I didn't even bring it in tonight for
Demonstrative purpose.
Dramatic effect.
I'm just waiting until probably next March. You're gonna throw it in the Christmas tree pile, aren't you? All right, let's go to old business E, the Washburn Court Library update. Tarek is here to talk to us a little bit about it. We also have Leo and Pat. Who wants to share some info? Tarek, I guess I'll turn to you.
No, I'll kick us off here. As you know, there's been a lot of effort gone into trying to find a suitable location for a new library. It's been going on for even before my time. And finally, an opportunity has presented itself, Washburn Court. CentraCare has sold it, or I'm not sure if it closed yet or not, but it should be closing any day now, to Fortitude, or the owner of Fortitude. They're going to have their corporate offices, or move their corporate offices in that building, probably the second or third floor. I'm not sure which floor they're designated for that, but they're willing to let the ground floor be used as a library. We took the Friends of the Library out there along with the Great River Regional Library folks that came down to take a look at it. Also, Bolton and Mink did a study just to see if, structurally it's a sound building to house the library. Everything looked good. I think everybody that visited it was very pleased with it. And right now we're at the stage where Fortitude is going to be ready to move in on their corporate office side, and they're looking to remodel as early as spring. And they want to know if we want to participate with the architect that they choose to be able to design the layout of the ground floor. Of course, there's some cost involved, and then because right now we don't really know what cost is involved, but I know Friends of the Library as well as the foundation, they're willing to do, or they are doing a fundraiser that's coming up very soon, and the specific purpose is for the library. So I think right now it's important to kind of get an understanding of what it's going to cost and, what the city's role and contribution is going to be, as well as what the community foundation and Friends Library are willing to do. That's my quick update. I don't know if you guys want to add anything else to that.
Want me to go first? Good, I'll go first. Can I just speak from my chair? I'm usually loud enough for everybody to hear me. First of all, Steve Peterson has designed what he calls the design team, which would be Tarek himself, Brandy Cantor, who is the regional director for Great River for this area in Stearns County, myself, and Tom Opatz. That has not closed yet. I think things are still pending, and we're assuming it's going to go forward. So it's going to be a public and private task to get this accomplished. So the stakeholders in this, besides the city, is the Paynesville Area Community Foundation, the Friends of the Paynesville Public Library, Great River, of course, who you have a contract with to provide library services, and then Tom. Our intent is to raise, with the help of the foundation, raise enough funds to do most of the build out for a new library. But of course, you still need chairs and tables and other things that may not be all part of that. We are looking at some grants now. Some of them are just small grants to accomplish some of those things. We have a letter going out in November with a general appeal to the public for smaller donations, and I know that the foundation already has some large dollars coming in for that effort. If you have not bought a ticket for the gala, please talk to me. I'll make sure you get one, because we want to see bodies there. We want you to support the community. So I guess we want you to affirm the fact that you are in and willing, which I'm getting that impression, to go ahead with this, that you would lease the building from Fortitude or Tom or whatever entity he sets this up under for the long term for a library if we do the funds, most of the funds for the build out.
So,
We don't want it a big thing on the tax rolls. We want it to be a public-private sponsorship.
and I know the biggest concern for the city has always been the cost of the build out, no matter where we went. And from the estimates or the pre-commitments that the foundation and the Friends already have, are we pretty confident that we'll be able to fundraise most of the cost of the build out?
Well, we don't have any figures on the
Right.
build out, and it depends upon, are we talking just the first floor? He also needs some infrastructure. Heating and air is not on the second or third floor as it is on the first. So they have some big infrastructure things. Whether he feels that's the share of the main level also, I don't know. And then when the architects start figuring out how it all works, we just don't know where the costs are yet. They need to start going forward.
I think, yeah, from my discussion with him, he would like us to share in the HVAC build out, whatever that cost will be.
And that was a considerable amount of money.
That was a big number. I don't know exactly how much, but it's gonna be six figures.
But I'm sensing a strong optimism in the amount of money we think we'll be able to raise.
Right, and the city doesn't have to bond out for a new building and raise everybody's taxes, but I think that you need to be creative and find some funds that are available for an expansion, for a library, for this community development. We're not getting a library for the library. We're getting a library for this community. That's what it's for. It's for this community. It's not for the library. They can have a library just about any place. But to have a better library for the committee is what we're getting, or for the community is what we're getting. We're trying to get a better library for the community.
And I think the new word is community resource center, not library, because it's more than just books now.
No, Brandy says no. Or no, Katari says no.
It's just books?
No, they don't like to call it a resource center because it confuses other entities. Their entity is Great River Regional Libraries. But of course, they have a lot of resources, and so it isn't really a resource center. It's a library that offers a lot of resources to the community.
Yeah.
Neil, I saw your hand up.
I don't like the term community. It needs to be Painesville area,
Painesville area.
community.
Well, I didn't
thing.
say city, because to me, the community, I've always felt that I've been a part of the Painesville area community, even though I didn't until September 1st live in the city of Painesville. But I've always felt part of the
I'd
community.
like to see area, community, or
Area
however,
community.
because I feel a lot of people think community is just the
A
town.
city.
So,
And in relation to that, I think all the townships, not just Painesville, should be asked to support this endeavor.
Yeah, I have a meeting with Painesville Township tomorrow morning, so.
But I mean, there's quite a few other townships that people use this library that's hard to get a dollar on. And I think it should be pursued. There's 5 or 6 townships that people use this library.
one thing that I was going to add, talking about Tom Opat's buying a building or furniture, or however you want to talk about them buying it. When Tarek first approached me with the idea, I was immediately hesitant because I didn't know what it was going to turn into and what was going to happen to our city's library. But I think in the meetings we've had with Tom, there's a real dedication that he's shown to making it an area library and resource center. And some of the things he wants to offer in there are things like nurse trainings to his staff and to other people. So bringing in people from as far as like St. Joe and other communities into town in order to get training and stuff in our community. So when they're here, they're going to be supporting our economy, doing things like that, and building kind of a conference area as well. I think this is a really strong and positive thing for our community. I'm behind it 100%. I think you talked about board membership for the design. Keep Tarek on it. You don't need too many bureaucrats turning that thing into even more of a nightmare. But I would suggest if you can get somebody from the township board to participate in it as well, it will be easier to get the financial contribution out of them if they're involved in the process.
Sounds good.
But-
We'll look into the other townships. Thank you.
Rather interesting, I was listening to people coming in and asking for a donation from the city council. Well, this is a kind of a reverse now. You should be coming to us and asking for a donation from the Community Foundation. And that's what we're about. We're about making the community better. And this is probably a pretty unique thing to do, is come up with money for a library, a city library, county library. And so it's, we're coming to you, or are you coming to us for the help? So it's sort of a reverse thing.
We're all in it together.
We're all in it together, right?
So it'd be nice to have you ask us, can you help us out? And what do
Can
you
you
need?
help us out, Leo?
Oh, I'm asking council.
I got my tickets purchased to the gala, so we'll be there to help you out.
Well, that would really be super. We have the complete city council and the staff, many as you can get it there. Because that's, we need the community support in order to do the things we've been doing. We've been doing a pretty good job of it. We've got a lot of money invested into the city. And you came to us there, and we performed.
I think the Community Foundation is one of the better kept secrets in town, and the amount of money that that foundation pours into the people in need within our community. And I think it too often goes without the gratitude that it deserves. So thank you to you and everybody else who's on that foundation for all of the support that you give to our city, especially as we look at something that's going to help support our community for generations to come.
Ron, can you grab that door? Thank you.
Any other discussion on the library piece? Neil, did I see your hand up?
Leo, I've talked to you a couple, 3 times, I guess, about this and fundraising, and I told you that I'm committed, and I said maybe pledges would make sense. I'm going to contribute so much for 3 years. And I think there's other people that might be, you know, you can't just dig it out of the ground, you gotta earn it. And so a lawn gift would, I think, be acceptable.
Right. And I'll just repeat Pat's plug, the gala's coming up in October, so buy your tickets now. October 1st. Great. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate the input. We don't have any action on that tonight, so let's go back up. We do have a closed session at 7, but we're keeping an eye on the clock for that, but let's try and get through some of our new business. Going back up to page 50 of our agenda, setting a public hearing to certify the past due water, garbage, snow removal, and mowing bills.
I'll make the motion. Set the public hearing for 6:30 on Monday, October 24th, for the purpose of certifying past due garbage, water and sewer, snow removal, and mowing bills to the county.
A motion by Soini to set a public hearing. Is there a second? Second by Thielen. Setting a public hearing for 6:30 p.m. on Monday, October 24th. Any further discussion on that? None, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, that carries. Chief, you have a car you'd like to sell?
I do. So we've got,
SUV maybe?
so we've got a forfeited vehicle that's gone through the process. We're able to dispose of that. We're just waiting on the title, but to kind of get ahead of the game for when we get that title, just get authorization to sell it in our usual manner through min bid, and then dispose of it accordingly. The split on that will go 75 or 70-30, 30% to the county attorney's office, 70% to the city, as dictated by the state statute.
So with that, we're just looking for a motion to approve the sale of the 99 Ford Expedition via min bid upon receipt of the license and title card and all other paperwork.
Any idea on value?
Honestly, I didn't even look into what the value is. And part of the reason, Neil, is for on something like this, on these forfeitures, the value is really what people are willing to pay for it.
99 is.
I'm hopeful that it's more than the 99 Grand Marquis. So.
I don't think that paid for that.
All right, I have a motion by Thielen as stated on the action sheet. Do we get a second?
Second.
Second by Soini. All right. Any further discussion? None, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. That carries. All right, the airport CIP on page 63. Ron or Chuck, can you talk to us about this?
Yes, just to give an update on the CIP, this is something we do annually. We submit to FAA and MnDOT Aeronautics. Just looking at the CIP, with projects that are planned to be coming up in 2023, we'll do our last repayment for the hangar project for federal and some federal of our federal entitlement funding. With that, with the planning for the pavement rehab project in 2024, there may be a planning study required. We're hoping that the FAA does not make us do that planning study, but recently in these type of projects, they have made us do a pretty in-depth planning study. So we just added that just in case. Then we move forward into the design of that project for 2024. And really 2024 is when we would redo the pavement along the runway in the main apron area. We did downsize this project and added just a crack seal and seal coat in the hangar area, the taxi lanes, and at the same time do the airfield lighting upgrade. Now, one thing to note, and if we look in 2023, the local share is sort of split 50-50 with state and local funding. In 2024, it's not that way yet because they have to reauthorize the state paying the 5%. It's usually 95.5, but until the state commits to that every year, we have to show it as 90-10 really. So that's why the state share isn't shown. So our hope would be is that the local share gets cut in half on the 2024 project. So it'd be right at $100,000 rather than the $200,000 range. Moving forward beyond the pavement rehab project would be an ALP update. We did add an FBO building on here in 2025. Now there's potential for some special funding that may become available for an FBO type project, so we wanted to add that in there in that time frame in case that special funding becomes available. So, then moving forward, we get into the parallel taxiway, environmental review and potential the construction in the future. And then moving beyond that, it gets into some more maintenance. If you look in 2030, or 2030 is when we moved the potential to redo the pavement in the hangar area, since it's not being done as part of the 2024 project. Obviously, these projects shift a lot moving forward, depending on funding availability and the local match requirements. So. Any questions?
Anything for Chuck? And then we're looking for a motion to approve the airport CIP.
I'm at the motion.
Is that a motion? Okay. I have a motion by Soini. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Hertzberg to approve the airport CIP. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Ron and Chuck, with the lights, the gazebo park, the grants, how long do we think it might take to cover those things?
The holiday lights should only take a few minutes.
Think we can get them done in like 10? Then you guys can get out of here before our closed session?
Sure. The holiday lights?
Kathleen, are you okay with waiting a couple minutes if we don't start right at 7? Start a little bit later? Okay. All right, so going on to the holiday lights.
The 3 large units that we put across the highway, 2 of them on Business 23, 1 on Lake Avenue, they are in a state of disrepair and they really do need to be replaced. The others that we see on here are speculative or for Lake Avenue. Currently, we don't have anything out there, and that is just if we would want to move forward with that. I guess we do got 2 different options for the highway crossing. Everybody I talked to like the lower one, the 45-foot silhouette with snowflakes, and the spiral snowflake. So that is the one that I guess I would recommend also, and the funds for all of this would have to come out of the street CIP. And I guess I don't know if Tarek, if you had asked the chamber for any assistance on this yet?
Yeah, and they're going to be meeting on it. We initially thought, because we have a tourism or lodging tax board meeting coming up, but they don't think it'll be appropriate for that, maybe just out of the chamber to participate directly like they used to in the past. So, yeah, we'll have that discussion with them.
I'm good. I will say that the lights out on Lake Avenue were sort of my suggestion, so if anyone doesn't like it, they can get mad at me and not necessarily Ron. But I thought if we're going to have that sort of be our nice entrance into town, we should dress it up a little bit. So that's where that came from. I do think for sure we need to get the ones on Business 23 replaced.
Yes.
Yes.
And I guess I don't think it's that much more for something that could have a pretty big impact out on Lake.
I'll make the motion to approve the purchase of the 3 banners, the 10 post lights, a total of $16,206 plus plates. Holiday lights for the Northern Lights display, with funds to come from street and lighting equipment fund.
Minus any potential offset from the...
Yes, yes, hoping for some reimbursement.
So there's a motion by Sonia as stated on the action sheet, minus any potential chamber offset. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Brick. Any further discussion on that?
How old are the lights that we're replacing? How many years have we had them?
I believe they were purchased in 1991 when
Okay.
we redid the downtown. So
Okay.
they were rewired once.
Okay.
But yes, they are still the old incandescent bulbs. They haven't been switched over to LED yet, so
Okay, so we can expect some good mileage out of this as
we've
new
got a
ones.
lot of mileage out
Sure.
for those.
All right,
Okay.
thanks, Ron.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carries. Okay. Going forward to the water usage at Gazebo Park.
Nope.
Yep. I'm getting the Ron and Chuck out of here so we can go into our closed session. Basically, we were talking about the budget and how we can save some money. One of the areas that has a little bit of a stronger budget is our water and sewer fund. And with the gazebo park and the splash pad paying about $8,000 a year in water, Ron did some research looking into it and came up with the idea of just not paying the water bill and letting the water fund basically eat that cost.
And that's based on other communities, that was the way they did it.
That is correct. I guess, talking with other communities, you'll probably find it split 50-50 with communities that do pay and 50 that do not. So if we choose not to, I guess I'm okay with it.
So that would be one way. I mean, it saves about $8,000 per year out of our general fund. It is something that will have to come up in the water budget, but I mean, in that fund, we're looking at maybe a very small percentage increase in order to make up that difference in a budget that has some pretty healthy balances.
Correct.
Budget and Finance did talk about this and is in full recommendation. Looking at a motion to cease billing and paying for the water at Gazebo Park starting January 1 of 23.
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion by Thielen, seconded by Thielen, or by Brick, excuse me. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carries. Okay, Source Water Protection Plan Implementation Grant, Old Business B. Jen, I appreciate you jumping along with me here. Guys, can you tell us about this grant?
Okay, the Source Water Protection Grant, I believe it's also in there. We did get paid for the previous one, which I believe was right around that $9,000 or $9,100. This grant, we've got three components into it. The Water Festival will be fully funded through this grant. We will also support a newsletter next spring for any water issues that are coming up, and then we will also be supporting the standby power unit at well number 8. That will not cover the well number 8 generator by any means. We will be bringing forward another grant to cover the remainder, or cover a portion of that, but that grant is only going to be a 50-50, and the cost of a generator is going to be right around $30,000 to $35,000. So we can take this $6,000 and recall the other, the $9,000 that we did get, did go also for the transfer switch and the concrete pad for that standby power unit. So.
We have the grant application in front of us, and we're looking for a motion to submit the Department of Health Source Water Protection Plan Implementation Grant application and authorize TARP to sign the same.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion by Hertzberg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Soini, as stated on the action sheet. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None? That carries. Okay. And the Lake Avenue Riverbank grant.
Yes, in your packet is a copy of a grant through the Conservation Partnerships Legacy. Basically, it's a grant that we could apply for to help correct the slope failure that's occurring along the river adjacent to Lake Avenue, where we've had some curb settling and pavement failure. Basically, the grant requires a 10% match. The total estimated cost is about $296,000, which results in a grant of just over $269,000 with the local match just under $77,000. So basically what this would do is help stabilize that slope with some riprap and some different bioengineering type practices and fix the failure that's occurring along that slope right now. So if acceptable, we would submit the grant, and obviously it's a competitive grant, so we'd have to be selected.
I'm all in favor of the grant, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask the slope issue and the erosion that's taking place out there. Is that something that should have been engineered better when that was designed, or what happened?
It's actually on the river.
Yes.
So it's not anything to do with the street. It's actually way down by the river where the failure is occurring.
Yeah, I had noticed that a couple of years ago with the buses driving by there. It just seemed to be getting worse. Along with the semis coming out of Valley and whatever.
Yeah, the year we saw it really occur was a really wet year when the water was high all year. So I don't know when that slope was last touched. If I had to guess, it was,
Before my time.
yeah, it's been many years.
Receding of the last glacier, probably.
And we've been in contact with the DNR and Stearns County Soil and Water. We've had several meetings with them about the project, and they are going to provide a letter of support as well.
Just for our local share, that would come out of our stormwater utility, and there would be plenty of funds in there to cover those costs. The only thing noted this also, it does not cover the cost of the road repairs, but once this is complete, we'll bring that project, or taking care of the road itself.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to get like a guardrail up there too, because that's a steep bank.
Correct, it is, yes.
And part of it it'll be less steep after.
Let's hope so.
Okay.
All right, so for right now, we're just looking for a motion to submit the grant application.
I'll make the motion to submit the Conservation Partners Legacy Grant application.
Okay, I have a motion by Hertzberg, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Breck to submit the legacy grant application. Anything more on the grant? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carries. I don't think you guys have anything else.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, did you have something? Am I missing it?
Just the edibles.
Oh, yeah,
You forgot about it.
we're not gonna get that one done in a few minutes.
Didn't think so.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay, so with that, we did have a 7 o'clock closed meeting. It's 7:06. I thank you ladies both for your patience in accommodating us here. But at this time, I will recess our public meeting. We'll open the closed meeting in order to discuss an offer on the real property located at 385 Kira Lane, described as Lot 19, Block 1, Heatherwood, Plat 3. I think, Chief, not to be rude, but you're the only one that has to get out of here.
Yeah, I know.
And he'll be back.
But don't go far.
It pained you to say that.